Alright, so in less than 12 hours time, we're going to be getting the new Safri Untold Stories Round 6 banner. In this case, bringing 2 new characters to the game, Gin and also Mayori. And of course, before the banner does so, we're going to be breaking down the banner, breaking down the characters, letting you lads know everything you need to know before you decide to summon on this particular banner. In this case, first up, let's have a look at the availability date. It's going to be available tomorrow morning for me at 8 a.m. We are going to be live streaming when this banner does drop, so feel free to jump in. But it is going to be lasting 12 days. Important days to know here is that this banner will be out while Senkaman is out, so that means you can get 500 orbs to potentially go back in on this banner. But when this banner does leave on the 12th is when we start to get the individual banners. They're on your screen right now. They're actually pretty good banners, all things considered. Filler-wise, they're not too bad. They feature some good guild quests, arena, and also link store characters. And since it's a 2-character banner, if you're trying to go for the sweep and get both of the characters, pulling until you get one of them and then saving for the individual might be something you want to do. Especially considering the fact that this banner is a 7-step format, the individual banners are looking more promising than usual. Either way though, knowing the dates of the individual banners are important, especially if you don't get what you want. The individual banners are usually a last lifeline until the characters do return around 3 or so months later. With that said though, the banner does introduce 2 new characters, so let's quickly talk about them. In this case, Gin is a technique sniper with the no affiliation kill ability. He is setting up to be a really powerful technique character that surprisingly a lot of people are downplaying. In this case, damage output is not going to be a problem for Gin since he comes with Frenzy +2 and also 40% more damage to poisoned enemies, which he is not going to have a problem inflicting since he does have an increased stat summon chance against any speed enemy. That paired with the fact that he basically has the perfect set of strong attacks, this character is quite frankly going to be amazing when you play with him. His SA1 is a 3000 length beam forwards. His SA2 is a distant AoE into a tracking vortex. That SA2 in particular is going to be hitting 75 times. With the increased stat summon chance and Frenzy +2, you're pretty much guaranteed to always inflict stat summons when you use that SA2. This is going to make clearing Inheritance Shroud super easy, super trivial, even though he doesn't have Pierce Iron Skin. And that's important to note because this character does increase the amount of links or potions and also super links or potions you do get by playing with this particular character. With Guard Break and also hit enemies, Long Stride and also Sprinter +2, he's going to be a fast character, fun, and also powerful character. Due to the nature of the strong attacks and skills that he was given, this character can realistically be used in any content you want to put him against. If you are wanting an OP Gin, this is basically that. He's going to be great in Inheritance Shrouds, Epic Raids, Arena, and also in Guild Quests. However, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. As great as this character is, he is unfortunately going to be useless in Inheritance Shrouds for the next 2 or so weeks. One of the few drawbacks about this character is that he doesn't have 2 stats and it's only inflicting poison. That therefore means in Inheritance Shrouds, there are going to be times that the enemies are immune to poison, and that means you can't really get the best of him in Inheritance Shrouds, where he wants to be used. And unfortunately, as of right now, the enemies are immune to poison. This is only going to unfortunately be a problem for the next 2 or so weeks, and after that, Gin is going to be dominating Inheritance Shrouds. Moving on to Mayori though, Mayori is setting up to be a pretty interesting character in the way they designed him. In this case, Mayori is a power, strong attack character with the Aranka kill ability. Having a look at his comparisons, there aren't that many great Aranka killers out there, the most notable recently released character being the mana version of Yumachika, and also, of course, Thousand Year Maruki are still holding up exceptionally well. Now, in this case, Mayori can do quite a lot. In terms of the skills that he does have, he's very similar to someone like Yamamoto. And by that, he has Frenzy +1, a 40% Berserker. When he does inflict this stat summon, you are going to get an 80% stat boost to your Spiritual Pressure stat. And then since he does inflict 2 stat summons, Poison and also Paralysis, great set of stat summons by the way, but you also do 80% more damage to those enemies that are inflicted by both of those stat summons. That in combination with the fact that he has Devastation +40%, Bombardment +1, and also Weakened Defense allows him to actually be a very powerful nuker in Guild Quests to the likes of Thousand Year Blood with Yamamoto. Like Soulman-wise, Yamamoto only hits around 10% harder. But Yamamoto does have the advantage of allowing your side to do more damage since you apply weakening. But as we have seen with Yamamoto in Guild Quest, especially if you have him max transcended, his damage is overkill. So Mayori, at least in the Aranka week, the ranged and melee Aranka week, he's going to be a pretty good nuke. But alongside that, he also does come with complete stats immunity and also Marauders, so he's a very good character, especially given the fact that he does come with a new mechanic that's mainly seen in his SA3, which is a trap strong attack. It does extend the SA3 by a few seconds, but this summons a massive pull in front of him that has a very high chance to inflict both paralysis and also poison to any enemy that steps in it. This is going to be really good in Senkamon stages, guild quests, and of course also co-op quests whenever there are a bunch of bosses spawning in. Now this trap mechanic doesn't work in every game mode, specifically epic raids and also brave battles. It will not leave the trap, but he does have a normal SA3 to go alongside that, so Mayori is setting up to be a pretty powerful character, definitely one of the best power characters in the game. Unfortunately held back a tad bit by the fact that he doesn't have the greatest strong attack kit. Definitely could be better, but it's definitely not that bad. SA1 is going to be a lunge forward, SA2 is a little vortex in front of him, and then his SA3 is also like a vortex in front of him. It's going to drag the enemies into the trap, so if for some reason there's anyone left alive after you use that SA3, they are going to get paralyzed, and that's going to allow him to constantly keep the spiritual pressure boost every time you do decide to use that SA3. Once more, it's very similar to Gin, a very powerful character, but it really comes down to you if you need him or want him. Having said that though, looking at the actual banner itself, it does feature 4 other spirits R5U characters and also 6 Kan for your odd characters. In this case, quickly going over the fillers, Kenpachi is a brave battle character, mainly designed to go against Beyond Bankai Yamamoto, but with his damage output and also the fact that he does go through brave battle invincibility and also ignores last ditch, he's a very good third slot on any brave battle team and can be really good in the Captain Killer guild quests. Retsu is basically the queen of auto. If you're trying to auto point event, she is probably the fastest character for that. Very powerful strong attack hit, high damage output with the frenzy +2, 20% berserker, and more damage at full stamina. Combine that with the fact that she has a charged strong attack 3 that can heal your team by 40%, she can apply weaken defense, and she can also inflict weakening and drain on every single attack. Retsu is still one of the best technique characters in the entire game. Kisuke, great strong attack hit, good damage output with his frenzy +1, good berserker value, and also the spiritual pressure boost, and given the fact that he's immune to every stat element, he makes for a very fun and safe to play Kisuke. Shinji, once more, just a very solid mind Aranka killer. He unfortunately does like guard break, and that's the only bad thing about him, but when you use him where you're supposed to use him against Aranka enemies, he's going to be a very great character. Tsukishima, despite being quite old at this point, still holds up relatively well, especially against characters like Chad in brave battles, because this Tsukishima is a brave battle character. His whole thing is that he is immune to damage for 10 seconds, unless the character does ignore brave battle invincibility, but we have seen a rise of SP characters in brave battles, so Tsukishima still definitely has a place in the meta, and still a great character to have, especially if you have the dupes of him. Ginjo is a ranged attack-based character with the Aranka kill ability. He's a pretty fun Nat character, especially given the fact that he's one of the few characters that have follow-up, and with weakened defense, he makes for a pretty good Nat character. It's rare for you to use characters like him, but you can definitely get a use out of him in something like the ranged Aranka guild quest, for example. And of course, also Senkamon. Funny enough, we have another Mayori in this banner. In this case, Mayori is a technique Espada killer. His whole thing is that he wants to be used in the Espada guild quests. Definitely does take a bit of investment into this character to make him really worthwhile, but he has a good enough strong attack kit, can be used if you like him, but his main thing is that he wants to be used in the Espada guild quests. Kisuke is a speed and affiliation killer, quite outdated, lacking on the DPS, lacking on the range. Same goes to Nelio, pretty fun character, but lacking on DPS, lacking on range. In her case though, she is a power Serpent killer. And then Haribel, a mind hollow killer. Once more, lacking on DPS, lacking on the range, but they're all, again, still, I guess, perfectly usable. Now, it's important to know, in this particular case, this is going to be a 7-step banner, so this isn't our usual step-up format, unfortunately. In this case, though, step 1 is going to be free with a 4% pull rate, which is split between a featured pull rate and a other character pull rate. The featured characters include these 12 characters here, and the other characters include every 5-star premium character up until Kisuke, Yoruichi, and Okiura's Fierce Battle release. Now, the good thing about the unfeatured pull rate is that it doesn't eat into the actual character draw right here. So if you ever do get an unfeatured character, while it does suck that it's probably not what you want, it is basically an added rate on top of the 6%, especially when you get to step 6, for example. And if that wasn't there, it could have easily just been a shafted multi. But important to know here, on step 6, you do get a guaranteed featured character, which once more is one of these 12 characters. And because of that, it therefore means that step 7 is 250 orbs, 8% pull rate, and you have no more discounts and no more guarantees. So I do want to give a warning on this particular banner. This is very tough, and you can easily spend a lot of your orbs in the course of minutes. And because there's technically no stopping point, I mean, technically you can stop at step 6. That's a good place to stop, by the way. But since you just started summoning, the itch might be still there, and there are times, especially on my behalf, where I've gone past step 7 and end up spending like 5,000 plus orbs, because that's what this banner is there for. It's designed to basically make you spend all your orbs. There's no stopping point. Usually on a 25-step banner, once you go to step 25, if you even go that far, that's usually a great stopping point. It tells you you've basically done enough summons now. let's relax. In this case though, there is no relax step. So do be careful going past step 7. I recommend everyone watching this video to at the minimum go to step 6. It's only going to cost you like less than 1,000 orbs. And you might walk away with a beyond bunker character, especially Gin or Mayori. You can easily acquire those 1,000 orbs over the course of a month, so it really shouldn't hurt anyone going to step 6. But going past step 7 really comes down to you. My recommendation, because again there's really no stopping point here, is to set yourself an orb limit. In my case, for example, I'm planning to spend 3,000 orbs, and if I don't get what I want in that orb count, then I'm going to stop and wait for the individual banners. Just a fair warning, step 7 can be quite brutal, so do keep that in mind. So yeah, that's basically the Safwi Step Up Summit Round 6 in a nutshell. I do think it's a pretty decent banner, but I don't blame you for maybe limiting yourself on your summons here, maybe someone on the individuals, or maybe even wait for these characters to come back. They are set to return, potentially sometime in like 3 or so months, and the banner will be better. When they do return, it will be a 25 step up format, and the fillers, by the time this banner does return, characters like Kenpachi as a Shiro, Kuriyashiki, and also the Rocky will actually be long over a year old at that point, and they could return as fillers, and we might actually potentially see better fillers here, more Safwi characters in the filler pool when they do return. Just a few things to keep in mind, many just due to the fact again, this is a 7-step banner, and it also only features 2 characters here. So while these characters are great, they're worth going for if you need them, if you like them, there are a few precautions you have to take, because this banner is kind of against you. But with that said, let me know your summon plan in the comments below. Again, once more, I will be live streaming when this banner does go live. I'm hoping to pick up Gin or Mayori here. I'm going to spend around 2,500 to 3,000 orbs just to try and get my hands on these characters as a collector. But I will say, once I get one of them, I'm stopping and I'm summoning on the individual banner. But if you are someone going down to 0 on these characters, good luck. Hope you get what you want, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.